The United Kingdom takes pride in its education system. In the sprawling campuses of Oxford, Cambridge, Manchester, there's barely any talk, though, about what happens pre-college. How are British schools? Well, they're a hub of sexual misconduct now, infested with rape culture. British schools are unsafe for girls, and I'm not the one saying this, students are. I want to show you a page. It is called Everyone's Invited. It was founded in June 2020 by a 22-year-old college student. The page says, while finishing her English degree at UCL, Soma began sharing her experiences of rape culture on Instagram in light of the overwhelming response from those that resonated with her story. Soma found Everyone's Invited. In the last 1 year, thousands of girls have written about their experiences here, from being drugged and raped at parties to being sent or forced to share explicit images. Last we checked, there were more than 16,550 testimonies, and most of them were anonymous. Some have signed off with their school names. So far, a tenth of England's schools and colleges have been named here. Some accounts are from girls as young as 9 years old. 9. One testimony says, from the ages of 10 to 12, I was repeatedly touched and made to touch someone I trusted very much. Another, it was during my relationship, he pressured me into having sex with him, got angry when I said no. These are school kids talking. A girl from Lutterworth College writes that several boys at this school have stroked my leg, several have harassed me for explicit photos. This has been happening since year 8. I'm now in year 12. Another girl writes, I was first sexually assaulted when I was 9. It was by a 14-year-old boy that used to get my school bus. I did not say anything to my parents until I was 15 because I wasn't really aware of what happened to me. And then when I learnt about sexual assault and harassment. This is the condition of the UK schools. There are pages after pages of testimonies, and they're all very disturbing. What are the authorities doing about this? Well, they only woke up after this started making global headlines. The government of Prime Minister Boris Johnson then tasked Ofsted, or the Office for Standards in Education, with carrying out a review of sexual abuse in British schools and colleges. So inspectors from Ofsted visited 32 schools and colleges. Some of the campuses were named on Everyone's Invited, the page that the girl found, and some others were not. Inspectors spoke to over 900 students, and they published a report on the 10th of June. What they found is frightening, to say the least. 9 in 10 girls said sexist name-calling happened a lot or sometimes, as did sharing of unwanted, explicit videos and pictures. Some girls said they were contacted by up to 11 boys a night who were demanding explicit photos. Students said boys often talked about whose pictures they have. The photos are then shared like a quote-unquote collection games. Girls said that they experienced unwanted touching in school corridors. But they saw no point in reporting any of these experiences. Why? Because it was seen as quote-unquote a normal experience in school, this kind of sexual abuse. It is very unsettling. Students said that they were also scared of being ostracized. Some were scared that they will not be believed. These are teenage girls we're talking about, pre-teens, being assaulted, being raped by school peers. School is supposed to be the safest place for a child after her home. Since when have schools become so dangerous? And who is to be blamed for this? Inspectors point the finger at teachers, leaders, and parents. Let me read out some of the portions of that Ofsted report for you. This is what it has found. The agency that the government tasked with to investigate what happened. Pupils said adults often do not realize the prevalence of sexual harassment that occurs both inside and outside school. They spoke of teachers not knowing the reality of their lives. We found that many teachers and leaders consistently underestimate the scale of these problems. They either did not identify sexual harassment and sexualized language as significant problems, they did not treat them seriously, or they were unaware that they were happening. Here's another line that I want you to pay attention to. Children told inspectors that they do not always want to talk to adults about sexual harassment for a variety of reasons, including concerns about reputational damage or being socially ostracized. They also worried about not knowing what would happen next once they reported an incident and about potential police involvement. These children were scared. And this is straight out of a horror movie. And this is a cultural issue. The problem is not with lack of sex education, but with relationship and sex education classes that navigate the reality of life. The report says that girls were frustrated that there wasn't clear teaching of what constitutes acceptable and unacceptable behavior. The problem is with teachers refusing to step up and become educators. Ofsted mentions how teachers feel unprepared to teach outside their specialized subject or claim a lack of knowledge on topics like consent and sharing of sexual images. They call themselves teachers. The British society is complicit in promoting gender-based power positions. Think about this. Why are Britain's top private schools reserved for boys? The Eton College, Prime Minister Boris Johnson's alma mater. Also former Prime Minister David Cameron's school. It's boys only. Harrow, another prestigious school, boys only. It has always been that way, since Winston Churchill graduated from it. This is not the age of Jane Austen. We are in the 21st century. A school is no longer a boys' club, should not be, and it is definitely not a safe haven for rape culture. If not a cradle of equality, the least that Great Britain can assure parents is a safe environment in schools. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.